I came early on Monday to pick up William, and I watched him run around the playground with the other kids when it was time to come in. It wasn't a race, but the boys made it into one, and I could see how bad William wanted to win. And he reached up and grabbed the other boy by the hair and pulled him straight onto the ground so that he could pass him and be first.
Raising Lions by the author Joe Newman. This is the story of William, a boy with too much power.
It's early November when I get a call from Jennifer about her 4-year-old son, William. At home, William is sweet and engaging, but at school, he's defying the teachers, he's hitting other children, and he shows no remorse when he's hurt another child. I can tell Jennifer's very worried about the situation.
William is usually super sweet and charming, but it is impossible to get him to do anything he doesn't want to do. Don't get me wrong, he can be great, and he can be cooperative and attentive to us, but sometimes he just ignores us, and he doesn't understand that we're trying to get him out of the house to get somewhere. And we just don't know what to do when this happens. We've tried to force him, and he just gets so out of control. And some nights it's impossible getting him to sleep. It's always one more story. And we'll stop and take him to his room, and he then just follows us back into our bedroom. We're exhausted, and he thinks it's funny. When you meet him, he'll put on quite a show for you. And it'll be hard to believe that he's been kicked out of 4 preschools. Thank you. Please have a seat. We've done everything we can to try to accommodate William here, but he just can't stay at our school anymore. We've had difficult children in the past, and we've been very successful with them. We take time, and we explain the rules, and we show them how what they have done has hurt other children, and how they need to learn to control their bodies. These children listen, and over time, their behavior improves. But when we talk to William about his behavior, about how he has hurt other children, he shows no remorse at all. In fact, he often finds the whole thing funny, and he doesn't take the teachers seriously at all. I've never seen another child with so little remorse for his actions. I think you need to get a psychological evaluation of him. I think William might be a sociopath.
So on my first visit to the home, I really want to get a sense of William's interactions with the other adults in the house. And in that sense, I'm watching the adults as much as I'm watching William to see the back and forth. As expected, William was very charming and polite and engaging with me and asked me what I did. I told him I wrote books. His father showed him Raising Lions. A few minutes later, he asked me if I want to play, and I said no. So he gets the babysitter, and the two of them start playing. And as I'm watching them play, I notice that William ignores a lot of what she says, particularly when it's something he doesn't want to do. And she has to ask him several times to get things done, and sometimes eventually put her hand on him, and then she usually gets a negotiation for her to help him do the things that are really supposed to be his job. I see the same pattern happen when it's time to go to the park, and his mom wants him to put on his shoes. First there's a negotiation, then there's a you help me, and then a back and forth. There's some ignoring. Eventually they get him out the door. And by the end of the visit, I realized that William has trained the adults around him to believe he's a lot less capable than he is. And I need to write a protocol for them that's going to set very clear limits and boundaries that proceed in a very predictable way that reverse that power dynamic.
Okay, I have to tell you, that was the most difficult half hour of my life. Joe sent us the protocol, and it were the 3 basic steps we're to use with William when he doesn't do what we ask. A 1-minute break, a 3-minute break, and a 5-minute holding break. In the rehearsal, Joe says William wouldn't do the breaks and would ignore or argue when we counted the 5-second limit, and that we would need to hold him. It's crazy, because it's one thing to talk about holding your son while he throws a tantrum, and it's another thing to actually hold him for 25 minutes till he gets quiet and sits with you. It was a lot tougher than I expected.
The first time you do the protocol is always the hardest. I knew it was going to take a while and that Rob was in for a real challenge. What I was teaching Rob and Jennifer was to create a simple mental map through their actions for William to follow. And the map was, I give you a short break. If you don't take that short break, it becomes a longer break. And if you don't take the longer break, I hold you for an even longer break that doesn't start until you're quiet.
It's been about a month now, and while William will still test us, occasionally we still have to hold him, but mostly he takes the breaks when we give them. It's been much easier getting through a day and getting him out. We've even started using the breaks at the park, and he hasn't hit anyone in 2 weeks. I just wish we would have started using this a year ago. It would have saved us a lot of heartache.
So William's problem was that he didn't take anything at face value. A teacher might say to William, no means no. But William knew that no didn't mean no. No meant he could do it 3 more times or 4 more times if he was charming or if he feigned inability to understand what they were saying. And this gave William way too much power for a 4-year-old boy. William was testing the boundaries because he needed to come up against them. Once the boundaries were made clear and predictable, William became a much calmer, happier boy. Thank you for watching. And remember, your children are smarter than you think.
For a more detailed look at William's case, or to purchase the Raising Lions book, follow the links below this video.
Thank you.